Нормально, все, ушел, пидор. Ушел? Стой. Ушел, вон он летит. Вот он, сука, разворачивается. Ебать, вот он.
Russia began to remove flags from the occupier's grave so that people cannot see the real number of those who died at the whim of Russian dictator Vladimir Putin. This is the order of local authorities, and propagandists are already expressing their outrage. Ukrainian journalist Denis Kazansky drew attention to this. The Russian authorities began to remove flags from the graves of soldiers in cemeteries so that military graves would not be so visible and their huge number would not be so conspicuous, he wrote. In particular, Russian propagandist Anastasia Kashevarova called the actions vandalism and abuse of memory of those fallen. According to her, Russian officials are paying special attention to imperial flags and flags of the Wagner PMC. In particular, the disappearance of flags from graves was reported by Wagner mercenaries who came to one of the cemeteries in Cherepovets, Vologda Oblast, Russia. One of the newly minted heroes recorded a video with his face covered in which he complained that someone was taking down the flags that were hung on the graves of the occupiers. Here we are at the cemetery. We arrived, brought some flags, but the most interesting thing is that there is not a single flag here left. All the relatives put flags for their sons and husbands, and someone takes them down. They hide the flags. They just put them away. I don't know who is responsible for such a decision. I think this issue should be raised, he said. Kashevarova claims that the flags are being removed not only in Cherepovets, and complains that such actions will have the opposite effect and will further draw attention to the enormous losses of Russians in Ukraine. In the Pokrovsk direction, Russian occupiers advancing to combat positions near Vishneva came under a massive attack by Ukrainian drones. As a result, several groups of Russians suffered losses, with 3 killed and several wounded.
На ТМ-ки шли, наехали.
Рука, сука.
Бля, идем, поможешь, нах. Блядь, как вытащить-то, нах?
Сука, меня зажали. Правую ногу зажали.
ТМ-ка не заведенная, нормально. Идем сюда.
Уже заебись. Надо относи. Оттаскивай. Давай. Сюда его. Сюда. Сможешь выбраться? Нет.
Помоги ему выбраться. Помоги, бля! А чё, птичка, да, въебала, сука?
Птица. Летай, бля! Да, давай! Ты держись, бля! Папа, отдавай хуёвый,
Нормально, все, ушел, пидор. Ушел? Стой. Ушел, вон он летит. Вот он, сука, разворачивается! Ебать, вот он! Нормально, он вроде нормально.
Все?
Нормально.
Быстрей!
Давай быстрей! Ты как? Попал?
Опять, сука!
Сука, давай, ладно, быстрей, давай. Тут пиздец. Тормози их, разворачивай их.
Стой!
Там пизда, пацаны.
Надо быстрее.
Лучше не езжайте, разворачивайтесь и 300-го заберите.
Давай, заберите 300-го.
Лучше. Если людей не хочешь потерять, не езжай, братан.
Are you okay? It's like in a fairy tale. It fucking hurts. A Russian soldier on crutches right on the front line in Chasiv Yar, Donetsk region.
Давай, суета. Ползи. Дырявый Часов Яр, блядь. Как ты?
Пизда. Как в сказке, брат. Еще и больно, сука.
Soldiers of the Azov Brigade saved the life of a seriously wounded comrade in arms by delivering blood for transfusion directly into the trench using drones. Footage of the operation was released by the brigade's press service. The soldier sustained a severe shrapnel wound to the neck. Heavy blood loss, a difficult evacuation, and minimal chances of survival led doctors to make a radical decision, Azov stated. The drone delivered blood components to the front line and dropped them into the trenches, allowing the wounded servicemen to receive a transfusion in time. Due to constant enemy surveillance, it was impossible to organize evacuation on foot. Unmanned systems in this situation were a faster, safer, and more effective solution. Temny, the chief medical officer of the battalion, told Militarny. The drones delivered all the necessary supplies, transfusion systems, an intraosseous device, warming devices, calcium, painkillers, antibiotics, etc. The transfusion of blood components was performed by a platoon medic who was wounded himself. He was assisted by an infantryman with upper limb amputations, added Temny. Conducting the operation right in the trenches was a key factor in the fighter's survival, as he was in serious condition at the position for about 10 hours from the moment he was wounded until evacuation. The brigade explained that the heavily wounded soldier was evacuated from his position, after which doctors stabilized his condition. Now doctors are fighting for his life. Blood transfusions by combat medics are an achievement of the Ukrainian military and volunteers who defended this right, as only medical doctors were allowed to perform this operation in Ukraine until 2023. The Ministry of Health has expanded the special training program on transfusion therapy by introducing a course that enables combat medics to acquire essential transfusion skills. Today, not only people with medical education can transfuse blood, but also military personnel who have undergone appropriate training. This gives them the right to provide critical assistance to soldiers with heavy blood loss at the front line and during evacuation before they arrive at a stabilization center or hospital. Azov Brigade was one of the first to start transfusing blood during evacuation. Back in 2019, Azov introduced the use of blood into the training program for combat medics, successfully used this knowledge for the first time during the defense of Mariupol, and now in the battles in the Crimea forests, medics of the 12th Special Forces Brigade Azov of the National Guard of Ukraine use tens of liters of blood every month, saving the lives of soldiers, the brigade added. But I'm happy that at least in Europe we stopped whining and started acting, getting our act together. NATO Secretary General Mark Rutte.
Somehow in Europe we are discussing how to organize the security guarantees into Ukraine post the peace deal, and that is a step-by-step process. As always in Europe, it never immediately brings you to a final joint conclusion, but it's not a problem because we still have some time. But I'm happy that at least in Europe we stopped whining and started acting, getting our act together, and our talks today also very much focused on this. So Paris was not a standalone. It is part of a bigger process.
Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe. Also, if you want to support Warthog Defense, please become our member and get early access to new videos, exclusive members-only videos, and become administrator in comment section. The membership link is in the description.
Every day. We had a guy last week at 6 rescues in 6 days. You know, he's doing the job every day.